Hi guys, it's Rachel here from the Groomers shop, and today I'm just gonna help you to show you how to change your blade drive lever on the Joyzze Falcons, just to save you guys from having to send back to me, because it does make it a little bit more time consuming. It is easy to do. If you are doing it for the first time, I would recommend doing it alongside me in this video, and then also maybe taking a video yourself of yourself doing it so you can go backward if you aren't able to keep up with the steps in this video. Otherwise, obviously just pause your way through the video. First thing you need is your new blade drive lever, a screwdriver, and just a smaller screwdriver if the screwdriver you have to take all of the main screws out are a bit too big for the two little ones that are holding in here. So what we're going to do to start with is make sure your clipper is nice and clean. Just get rid of any hair that's stuck in here. This is something really important that I notice when people send their clippers in, is how dirty they are. When you leave hair and here and all in here, and the hair gets into the clipper and inside the housing, and that's just going to wear your clipper out a lot quicker than it should. So just try to get in the habit. This is what I do every time I take a blade off and put the clipper back onto the cradle to charge. I always just give it a really good brush out. It takes 2 seconds and it keeps my clippers really nice. So let's get started. To save a bit of time, I've already removed the 6 screws that are in the back here, so you can go ahead now. If you haven't done this, I'd recommend to pause now, because we're going to move on to the next step. So next step is with your screwdriver, we're just going to take out these 2 screws here. This is what holds the hinge in place. Another step that people get stuck on is getting the hinge back on the clipper. So when we put it all back together, I'll show you what you need to be checking for. So the hinge is off and the lock of the hinge is still attached to mine right now. So give it a little blow. Get all the hairs out. Mine isn't too dirty at all. And now we're going to remove the little screws that are in holding the housings together. I know a lot of people are scared to do this themselves, but it's really not too tricky, especially once you've done it the first time. It's pretty easy from there. My screw here is a bit worn. I need to replace it, because I don't think next time I go to do it, I don't think it's going to be able to come out, so we don't want that. Alright, so we've got all the screws out. If this is the first time that your housing has come off, you might notice that this next bit is taking the housing off, the front housing off, is actually going to be pretty tricky to do, because it's got a really strong sticky thing. Once you've got it off the first time, it's generally pretty easy after that. So I just get my little screwdriver and I put it between the blade drive here and the housing, and I just, you know, like leverage it off there and open it up, and you'll see, you can see it come apart in there. So we've got it off. If you haven't quite got yours off, I would pause it now. If you're like me, your little washer that sits on the top has fallen off. So make sure you put that aside nice and safely. So looking inside my clipper, because I keep it quite clean, there's really minimal hair in there. Some that I've taken off is quite bad, and it can actually get in, and you just don't want it to get onto the PCB board. Alright, so if we're ready to move along, what we're going to do next is get your screwdriver again, and we're just going to put it in between here. So we're going to take the blade drive off, and we're just going to put it in between here like that and just push it forward so it just comes off the bit here. Sometimes you have to do the top and bottom, but once it comes off, it comes off really easy. So sometimes you may think you have to take out the motor, which is this here. I don't find that I need to do that, so it can be a little bit tricky to get the new one back on, but I'll show you how I do it on an angle so we don't have to remove this, because that means we'll have to unscrew this, and if we can avoid doing that, then we obviously should, just to make it a lot easier. So I'll show you my blade drive lever. It's not too worn, but what happens when the blade drive levers are a bit worn, you probably won't be able to notice it much with your eyes, but you will hear it in it will rattle, it might leave clipper lines. Just the smallest amount of rounding on the ends here can really make a massive difference. So if you start to hear a rattle, if you start thinking my clippers aren't working as well as they usually do, or your blades are getting hot or they're noisy, most likely it's this, and it's a really simple fix. I think they're like $10, so it's a really simple fix, and hopefully with this video you'll be able to do it yourself. So we're going to put that one aside. Now you will notice that you've got a washer in here too, so you can remove that and just give everything a really nice little clean and get out all the hair. You should be using a little brush, which I don't have on me right now, but you should be using a little toothbrush or something really soft, and just brush out the excess hair. Alright, I think we are ready. If you're not ready to start putting it together, just pause it and get yourself ready, because we're going to start putting it back together now. So first thing, we're going to get one of our washers, we should have two, one of them, and pop it on. Just sitting on like that. Then you're going to get your new blade drive lever. If you've bought it from me, they already have grease in it, so you don't need to do anything. You just pop it over like that on an angle. Sometimes if you think this little thing's in the way, you'll see that it spins, and that's what makes it go side to side. Just get it kind of out of the way of this bit in here, and then you'll get to a point where you can see that you can clip it in. So as long as it's over the top of the motor, the drive like that, and you can see that it's about to come through, you just get it like that, and you give it a nice push. It's just grease coming out. Make sure it's all the right way back. Sometimes it is tricky. My one is feeling very tight. Right. Now we're going to get our second washer, and we're just going to pop it on the top there. That goes in the housing, just like that. Then when you've got that all put back together, you're going to get your housing. You can, if you feel like it right now, don't put anything metal against here, it will blow the board, and you don't want to do that because you don't want to have to replace that. But you'll see that you can make it go. Okay. So then you're going to get your housing, and you're just going to sit it onto the grooves. I just like to get it all in the right place and then just give it a bit of a squeeze. And then you'll see that that is all in and ready to be tightened. See, it's all sitting nice and flush. Now the next step that I would do is get your black screws, and we're just going to screw the housing together. If you want at this point to check that it's all working good, you can turn your clipper on. Just hold it nice and firm here, because remember you don't have screws in, and make sure it's working, which is all good. Now we'll screw these 6 back in. If you had a little electric one, that would be faster. When I do mine, I like to do the top and the bottom, and then we know that everything is nice and safe. See, we've got that nice and tight now, there's no gap. So I did this bottom one first, and now this one here. I'm gonna do the same on the other side, the top one. It really is pretty simple, you know. Just a little bit time consuming, but better than having to send it off. Not too scary. Just make sure that you always don't get anything metal near that board, and try not to leave it open. If you don't have time to do the whole thing at once, I would recommend just waiting until you have that time where you can sit down, especially if it's your first time and you're a little bit nervous. So we've got the 4, and now I'm just going to do the last 2 in the middle. You can get replacement screws too if you notice that they're starting to be a bit worn. You'd hate to have to not be able to remove one. Also with these housings, about a year or so ago, Joyzze changed the housings, and these new they just made them a little bit more durable, and they've made it with a matte finish, which is really nice to hold rather than the shiny, really smooth ones. They've also changed the drive levers. The old ones were black. If you still have an old one and you're about to put a black one on the new housing, it's not going to fit. They've changed the shape of the bottom housing, so if you still have the black one with the old housing, I would recommend doing the upgrade to them. If you bought them from me, I've been offering to do that for free for you guys, just so that for future there's no issues with having to do things like changing these. If you didn't, then I would contact the person the place where you bought them from, and just get them to do that for you. Otherwise you're not going to be able to replace the drive lever, which would be a pain in the butt. So we've got the 6 screws on, everything is working and sounding good. Now we're going to have a look at the hinge. Actually guys, what I recommend now, I'm not going to do mine because I need to get new ones and I need to go and find those, but with these 2 screws that you removed, just pop them in now to here. That just holds the bottom housing again at the top to the top housing. So do this now and then pause this video, because I'm going to skip that for now, and then we're going to move on to the hinge. So the hinge, it has 2 pieces, the hinge and the lock. This is what holds it on, and this is what, when you push this bit here, it lifts the blade off the clipper, or it opens this. When we're putting it back together, if you look at it like this and like this, it goes like that, okay? On the hinge, it has 2 springs here and here, and you'll see on the lock it's got 2 small holes. Those are where the springs go into, so make sure that you've got it the right way. It may look odd, but this is how it goes. It goes over so that it can hold the blade, okay? So pop your little, sometimes it can be tricky because sometimes the springs go down, so you can just push the spring up a bit so it goes into the right place so you can get it on, the lock. Once it's on, it's pretty good. If the spring is broken, which does happen sometimes, you'll need to replace it. So if I turn this around, you can see, hopefully, that the 2 springs are through the 2 holes. Okay, so we're ready to go. Just hold it nice in place like this, and then we're going to get your clipper, and we're just going to place it in. Oopsies, I just lost it. Hang on, guys. Can be fiddly. I say it's easy, it is easy, but it's just fiddly, isn't it? Right. I think if you closed it, it would hold a bit easier. Alright, so we're gonna pop it back on. And we're just gonna hold it in place with your thumb over it like that, and you'll see that it's pretty much lined up already. So we're just gonna go ahead now and hold it while we pop the screws in. Hold it all in place because you don't want the springs to fall out right now. So you just hold it in place. I like to just screw it a little bit and get the other one in, and then finish putting it in the full way. So there we go, guys. Gotta make sure it all goes. I'm just hitting that now. The best clippers ever, I swear. If you have any questions, always reach out. I'm always happy to help, to do anything about these falcons. I love them, and they're very popular here at the Groomers shop. So please reach out if you get stuck. If you get stuck during this, when you're trying to do it and you don't know where to go from there, just please send me a message and I can help guide you through it, or answer any questions that you're having issues with. All right, see ya.